Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Prime Minister calls for major revamp and long-term investment in agriculture. Jamaicans cautioned against being lured by dubious foreign employment schemes. And later in sports, Barbadian Roston Chase tipped to be West Indies Test captain. Thank you for joining us. I'm Carrie Simpson. Here are the details. We begin with a developing story from the courts. The Constitutional Court has ruled in the favor of the People's National Party, granting declarations that multiple states of public emergency declared by the government between 2018 and 2023 were unconstitutional. Our legal correspondent Dion Jackson Miller has been following the proceedings and will have an extensive report in Primetime News at 7. A detective constable attached to the Morgan's Bridge police station was shot and injured while a woman is dead. This following a domestic dispute in the Maysmuir housing scheme in Little London, Westmoreland. The deceased has been identified as 38-year-old Janice Francis, a cosmetologist and a resident of the community. Reports are that around 7:30, that's 7:50 p.m. Thursday, Detective Constable Leon Rodriguez was entering his home when he was attacked from behind by Francis, who is the mother of his child. She was reportedly armed with a machete and allegedly attempted to disarm him of his firearm. It's further alleged that during the struggle, Rodriguez was shot in the right hand. The tussle continued and both parties reportedly held the firearm when several shots were heard. Francis sustained multiple gunshot wounds to the upper body. She was transported to Savannah Lamar Public General Hospital where she was pronounced dead. There was pandemonium at the Brownstown police station this morning as men who attempted to smuggle drugs into a cell block attacked the police with a machete after being caught. Reports are that around 3:45, officers responded to reports of suspicious activity at the rear of the cell block. Two men in hoodies were seen, one armed with a machete. One fled while the other reportedly advanced aggressively toward an officer, ignoring commands to drop the weapon. The police opened fire and the man was shot. He was later pronounced dead at the Sennons Bay Hospital. Now, contraband, including ganja and a cell phone, were found on him. The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDICOM, is probing the shooting. Residents of St. James, once plagued by high crime rates, are experiencing a renewed sense of security. The police are hoping things will remain under control with Operation Storm 2 now in full effect. Details in this report.
As of May 10, the parish has recorded 20 murders, a substantial decrease from the 56 reported during the similar period last year. Additionally, shootings have declined from 50 to 24. Overall, major crimes have dropped from 146 to 77 year over year, marking a notable improvement in public safety.
It is interesting to note that the members of the community are so relieved by the peace that they are experiencing now. We prefer to know that proactively we can keep this country safe more than have to react to any incident. Let me use this medium to continue to encourage St. James and by extension, Jamaica. Tell us what you know is about to happen. That is where we want to stamp and do what is necessary to keep the things from happening.
Zone Commander Inspector Peter Salke, who led the walkthrough of the various communities, noted that initiatives such as Operation Storm 2 aim to deter criminal activity and foster stronger relationships between law enforcement and residents.
We are all citizens, and you are those residents of this community. But all away, and we want to see Jamaica zero. And that's where I want to go. Yeah, ambitious, but yeah, that is the ambition that I have. And that's why we come out in this mode. For sure, you say, hey, every other aspect of policing is where we are going.
The St. James Police Division continues to encourage residents to remain vigilant and report any suspicious activities. Community involvement remains a cornerstone of the strategy to maintain and further improve safety across the parish. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness is calling for a major revamp of the agriculture sector. Dr. Holness is pushing for more long-term investments to further drive the sector's growth. Shamila Pullen reports.
Speaking at the opening of the Caribbean Poultry Association's 8th International Symposium on May 13 at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, the Prime Minister stressed the need for stronger collaboration between agriculture and tourism. Dr. Holness reiterated that visitors don't just want sunshine and beaches, they want to taste the food here too. The Prime Minister pointed to the poultry industry as a standout example, noting its success with long-term supply contracts as a model for sustainable farming.
So what's the benefit of, coming to Jamaica and then you're eating an American chicken? You want to get that genuine Jamaican experience, which includes a Jamaican chicken, if there's such a thing. But clearly there is. It's grown here, it drinks our water, and it's foreign feed, but even that we have to deal with. But the critical point here is that we must be able not only to feed our local population, but we should be able to feed 100% all the people who visit our islands.
Despite the challenges, Dr. Holness believes the poultry industry has done well over the years.
However, as we look towards the future, we must focus on the opportunity for continued development and self-sufficiency in food production. As we face challenges such as climate change and global supply chain disruptions, the need for local supply resilience and productivity has never been more important. The continued success of the poultry industry will require collaboration at all levels, within the industry, across governments, and with stakeholders in related sectors.
He says other farmers can adopt similar strategies to that of the poultry industry to unlock long-term investment and stability.
The model that has been developed and has worked so well in the poultry industry is that you give your farmers long-term supply contracts so they can make upfront the investment and know it will be secured in terms of the recovery of that investment over time. That safety and security in the investment is not given to tomato farmers or cash crop farmers, or it's just not there. And that's because there is no aggregator largely in those agricultural endeavors.
Shamila Pullen, TVJ News.
Labour and Social Security Minister Pernell Charles Jr. has commended the Industrial Disputes Tribunal (IDTA) for its continued role in promoting industrial harmony and fair labour practices across the island. Speaking at a recent press briefing, Minister Charles Jr. highlighted the tribunal's balanced and timely resolutions of dispute, which he said have helped to strengthen employer-employee relations and support economic stability.
When you think about labor disputes and you hear someone say the Industrial Disputes Tribunal, it's almost as effective as speaking about the Privy Council because of the level of confidence that has been developed in the IDT.
The minister reaffirmed the government's commitment to supporting the IDT as part of its broader mission to ensure decent work and social dialogue in Jamaica. In the meantime, the minister is urging Jamaicans to exercise caution when pursuing overseas employment opportunities, particularly those not officially.
The operational illegal agencies, from what we saw from our observations, to be 93. Down to now 49, and we are looking to get that down to 0. The ministry urges agencies to remain compliant, to protect job opportunities, and we continue to warn persons to be vigilant.
Vendors and customers are being promised more comfort and a shopping experience after the Spalding Market in Clarendon is being redesigned and renovated. The Spalding Market in Clarendon is set for renovation. Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie toured the facility on Wednesday.
The ministry will be working closely with the Municipal Corporation in redesigning the framework for the market to make it much simpler, using the method that we have adopted in Buff Bay, in Portland, as a new concept for market, which is going to eliminate the question of electricity costs, give more ventilation to vendors. I'm giving the team 3 weeks to complete the redesign and the submission so that we can commence whatever needs to be done.
As for the existing structure,
the other building, which was started many years ago, we will engage the MC in what is possible. I understand some limited funding is available, but that funding can't do much. So again, once we have completed the assessment, then we will move to ensuring to see what we can do to do it.
And PNP Councillor for the Spalding Division, Trevor Gordon, welcomed the minister's visit, noting that he's looking forward to the plans for the market. In the meantime, Minister McKenzie said the government recognizes the importance of markets, which is why it has invested significantly.
Vending is critical, and especially in communities like Spalding's and the adjacent communities, a lot of people rely heavily on vending. The government, we started last year in my sectorial presentation where we spent a significant amount of money upgrading and improving markets. This year again, I intend to make further announcements just to advise the mayor that Maple Market will be amongst the market that will be slated for extensive repairs under the new program.
In the meantime, Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie responded to concerns about plans for the Mandville Market. Now, Mandville Mayor Donovan Mitchell recently suggested that the plans were shelved.
It's the silly season now, and everybody's looking relevant. So I am not prepared to talk about Mandville Market, because if the truth be told, those who are speaking need to speak up and say, what have we done prior for Mandville Market? And where is this elaborate design that we are talking about, that we have shelved? Ask them to produce it and send it, and then once they produce it, then we can have a conversation about it.
Councillor for the Morant Bay Division, Rosemary Shaw, is again calling for urgent attention to be given to the Bamboo River Bridge as well as the Bamboo River Gully. Speaking at the recent meeting of the St. Thomas Municipal Corporation monthly meeting, Ms. Shaw said with the hurricane season less than a month away,
for that area alone to have two serious problems, if a little rain falls, the situation will be catastrophic. I don't know what to do again. I spoke with National Works Agency, the parish manager, who said not to be able to can do much. He said he would speak with the regional officer. I'm sure that they're in touch with my superintendent here, because it's a parochial road. But the bridge is the National Works Agency's responsibility.
She is blasting the National Works Agency for not doing its job.
I remember the last time there was a big furor with the cleaning of the gully with popcorn, and he was tough and what to do. And I continue to say, if state agency not living up to their responsibility, you have to call on the dons and everybody and whatever to come and say if you can help, because some of them probably have the money. And I don't have no apologies for this inside here this morning. If the state agency is not prepared to do that, we're opening up ourselves to all sorts of things.
It's time for a break. Stay with us, more stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. It's now time for the Business Minute.
Iron Rock reported strong top-line growth in the first quarter of 2025, with insurance revenue rising 22% to $491 million, led by gains in property, engineering, and liability lines. Reinsurance costs climbed 23% to $309 million due to expanded treaty coverage, while a spike in motor claims pushed insurance service expenses up 25% to $169.7 million. As a result, the insurance service result fell 15% to $11.8 million. Investment returns dipped 13%, and higher relocation costs drove a 35% rise in operating expenses, leading to a pre-tax loss of $7.8 million compared to a $5.8 million profit last year. U.S. wholesale inflation remained fairly tame in April, according to Bureau of Labor Statistics data released on Thursday. U.S. wholesale prices fell last month. The Producer Price Index is a closely watched measurement of wholesale inflation. Now, it showed that the prices paid to U.S. producers dropped half a percentage point in April from the month before. The new data also shows inflation slowed on an annual basis to 2.4%. That's down from 2.9% in March. For the Business Minute, I'm Shane Masters.
Time now for the top stories from around the world.
In the region, Prime Minister of St. Lucia, Philip J. Pierre, says tariffs applied to imports into the United States, including those from the Caribbean, could deepen hardships in key sectors. Prime Minister Pierre says the effects will be felt in sectors dependent on U.S. goods such as healthcare, education, and food security. The Organization of Eastern Caribbean States imported goods totaling $2.23 billion in 2023, compared with just $67.5 million in OECS exports. On the international scene, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has said Russian leader Vladimir Putin was in the wrong for not attending Russia-Ukraine talks in Istanbul and pledged to slap fresh sanctions on Moscow. The talks are beginning on Friday and mark the first time the warring sides have held direct talks at any level since soon after Moscow launched its invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. Putin snubbed the talks and sent a low-level Russian delegation to attend in his place. The German Chancellor has pledged a fresh sanctions package against Moscow over Putin's no-show. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Hal Shaneberg.
Thank you, Hal Shane. We now head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report.